Why did Athena have to kill her best friend just to get her name? You know her as Pallas Athena. It sounds like a powerful title, right? Like general or queen. But what if I told you that Pallas isn't a title at all? It's a ghost story. It's the name of the only person Athena ever truly loved, and the person she murdered with her own hands. Most people think Athena is just this cold, perfect logic machine. She popped out of Zeus's head fully grown, wearing armor, ready to fight, with absolutely no childhood and no trauma. But that is completely wrong. There is a darker, sadder version of the myth that explains why the goddess of wisdom has such a tragic edge to her. See, before she was the Olympian heavyweight we all know, Athena was just a kid. Well, a divine kid, but still. According to this specific legend, after she was born, she didn't stay on Olympus. She was sent to be raised by the sea god Triton. Triton had a daughter of his own. Her name was Pallas. Imagine this dynamic for a second. You have Athena, this intense, incredibly powerful young goddess, and Pallas, a sea nymph who was just as tough, just as fierce, and just as hungry for battle. They weren't just roommates, they were inseparable. They were foster sisters, best friends. They did everything together. They trained together, they ate together, they slept in the same quarters. They were basically the ancient Greek version of Wonder Twins. This is the only time in mythology where we see Athena actually having a peer, someone she could just be herself around without having to be the goddess of wisdom. She was just a girl hanging out with her sister. But they were warrior goddesses in training, so their idea of hanging out involved spears, shields, and sparring matches. And that is where everything went wrong. One day, they're sparring. And this wasn't just a light tap practice, they were going at it. They were testing each other's limits. It was intense, fast, and violent, but it was friendly. It was a game. But someone was watching. Zeus. Now, Zeus is a helicopter parent on steroids. He's watching from the clouds, and he sees Pallas lunging at his favorite daughter, Athena. Pallas is about to land a hit. It's just a sparring match, right? It happens. But Zeus panics. He gets overprotective. In that split second, Zeus decides to intervene, and he does it in the worst possible way. He flashes the Aegis. You know the Aegis. It's that terrifying shield usually covered in snake heads or the face of a gorgon that strikes pure terror into anyone who looks at it. He dangles it right in front of Pallas just as she's making her move. Pallas freezes. It's instinctual terror. She hesitates. Her guard drops. She looks up at the Aegis in horror. But Athena? Athena is already mid-swing. She's committed to the strike. She doesn't see the Aegis, or maybe she's just so focused she doesn't react in time. She expects Pallas to block or dodge like she's done 1,000 times before. But Pallas doesn't dodge. Athena's spear goes straight through her best friend's chest. It's over in a second. Pallas falls dead, killed by the only person in the world she trusted, because Zeus couldn't mind his own business. Can you imagine the guilt? Athena stands there, the adrenaline fading, looking down at her dead sister. This is the defining moment of her character. This is why she's so serious. This is why she's so guarded. She learned the hardest lesson of war before she even fought a real battle, that a single mistake, a single moment of hesitation, costs lives. Athena was absolutely crushed. The grief was so heavy she didn't know what to do with it. She couldn't bring Pallas back. Not even Zeus could fix this. So she did two things to make sure Pallas would never be forgotten. First, she took her name. She bound it to her own. She refused to be called just Athena anymore. She became Pallas Athena. Every time someone prayed to her, Every time a temple was built, every time a soldier cried out for help in battle, they would have to say the name of the girl she killed. It was a permanent act of penance. She was literally wearing her guilt as a title. But the second thing she did, that actually changed the course of history. And this is where the story gets really weird, because it leads directly to the Trojan War. Athena carved a statue. She took a piece of wood and carved a likeness of Pallas. It was called the Palladium. It wasn't just a piece of art. She poured her power into it. It was a sacred object. It was her way of keeping Pallas close to her. But legends say that eventually this statue ended up falling from the sky, literally tossed out of Olympus by Zeus because he felt guilty looking at it. Or maybe Athena dropped it in a fit of rage, and it landed in a specific spot on Earth. That spot became the city of Troy. Now, hold on, because this is the twist that most history books gloss over. The Trojans found this statue, the Palladium, and they realized it was special. They believed that as long as this statue, this wooden memorial of Athena's dead friend, remained inside the walls of Troy, the city could never fall. It was the ultimate magical defense system. Fast forward a few hundred years. The Trojan War is raging. You've got Achilles, Hector, the wooden horse, all that stuff. But who is the biggest supporter of the Greeks? Who wants Troy to burn more than anyone else? Athena. She hates Troy because Paris didn't give her the golden apple. She is doing everything she can to help the Greeks win. But there is a massive problem. The city is protected by her own creation. The city is standing because it's guarding the memorial of her dead best friend. Talk about a conflict of interest. So, what does she do? Does she spare the city to honor Pallas? Absolutely not. Athena is the goddess of strategy, and strategy is cold. She realizes that for the Greeks to win, the Palladium has to go. She sends Odysseus and Diomedes, her favorite mortal operatives, on a black ops mission. They have to sneak into Troy at night, infiltrate the most holy temple, and steal the statue of Pallas. Think about the layers of irony here. Athena is guiding Odysseus to steal the very statue she carved to honor the friend she killed, just so she can destroy the city that was keeping it safe. It's brutal, it's ruthless, but it's also heartbreaking. Once the Palladium was stolen, the protection lifted. Shortly after, the Trojan horse trick worked. The walls were breached, and Troy burned to the ground. It really makes you look at Athena differently, doesn't it? We usually see her statues standing tall, holding a spear and a shield, looking victorious. But look closer at that name, Pallas. It's not a boast, it's a scar. It's a reminder that her wisdom didn't come from reading books on a cloud. It came from pain. It came from the worst mistake of her life. She carries the name Pallas to remind herself that power without control is dangerous, that even the gods can mess up, and that sometimes the ones we love the most are the ones we end up hurting. So, next time you see a statue of Athena, don't just see the goddess of war. Look for the ghost of the girl she used to be and the friend she couldn't save. I have to ask, if you were in Athena's position, carrying that kind of guilt, would you have wanted the statue to stay safe in Troy, or would you have burned it all down just to win the war? Tell me what you think in the comments.